Everybody, welcome to Excel video 454. I'm Nate Moore. This is chapter 3 from my book, Better Data, Better Decisions, using business intelligence in a medical practice. All kinds of ideas in chapter 3 about how to present your data and make it more understandable and more efficient as you present data visually. As we talk about charts, you'll find good ideas in chapter 3 about how to use charts in your medical practice. That said, let's play some more with charts today, and I want to talk about a feature called Trendlines. I have charges by location here, and as you look at it, it's all over the board. It's hard to tell, are charges going up or down by location? How are we doing? Are we getting better? Are we getting worse? And a trend line can help you see that. So if you can click trend line here, and the first question Excel is going to ask you is, okay, you've got 3 different series of data on your chart. Let's look at the main location and see if we can't understand, is the main location, this orange line here, going up or down? And if we click OK, what Excel will do is it will add to the chart this dotted line, and it says linear main, and we're going to tweak that a bit. But what it's showing me is, hey, the overall trend is down for the main location over the course of January through September this year. So we can come over here, and we can go to more options and look at this and tweak these trend lines. We can add one here. We could add one for Brookline or University. What I want to do is double click that trend line and get to the format trend line options as well. You can get there either way. You can see there are several different kinds of trend lines. You can do exponential or logarithmic and all that kind of stuff. Linear works for me with this data. We're going to play a little bit more with this forecasting stuff later, but look, I can change the name. Instead of linear main, what Excel's trying to do is say, hey, this is the kind of trend line I'm doing from this list we just looked at. It's linear, and the series I'm looking at is main. What I can do is I can click on custom, and I can do main trend line or something like that, and that will change the name that goes in here. The other thing I want to do is if you've tried to forget algebra and y equals mx plus b and all that kind of stuff, I'm not going to get real worked up about it, but I do want to at least show you. You can put the trend line equation and the r squared value on a chart. So what we're going to do is let's come over here and look at this chart, move this down where you can see it. And again, for those of you that are hoping you'll never see algebra and y equals mx plus b again, don't get too worked up about it, but it's showing me 2 things. It's showing me, here's my equation. If I start with 6e plus 06, if I start with $6 million, it looks like I'm losing about $31,000 a month over time is my trend line. And so, going down $30,000 a month is a problem. I need to know that. I need to do something about my main location. This r squared value tells me how correlated my trend line is to the data. If it was perfectly correlated, when the data goes up, the trend line goes up, and it's a perfect correlation, it's going to be 1. If it's a perfect negative correlation, when one goes up, the other goes down 100% of the time, it would be -1. A value of 0.1 says, hey, this trend line isn't super correlated. There's lots of gaps between the trend line and the data. And part of the reason is because this data is random. But the r squared value gives you a feel for how accurate or how representative this trend line is going to be. So putting the equation on the chart for a reader who understands y equals mx plus b, what this equation means, what this is telling them, hey, we're going down $31,000 a month, but we're not very correlated to the data, is helpful. If you don't like it, you can always delete it and take it off the chart. But that's the first thing I wanted to show you about trend lines. What you do is you pick one of the lines to trend and then do it. So you do trend line, and then I'm going to do linear, and let's just add university for fun. And now I've got the light blue linear trend line, and the dotted orange trend line is for my main location. You can put as many trend lines in there as you have data. It can get messy fast. Back to chapter 3 of my book, and don't make data too hard to understand in a chart. But there's lots of things you can do with trend lines to make things easier to understand. Stay tuned. We're going to tweak these trend lines a little more in the next Excel video. Thanks for watching.